I'm going to do something that I should have done years ago. Fear for the safety of my children, fear of rejection, and my perfectionism were holding me back. But I'm finally past that now. I don't need you to agree with what I'm doing. I don't need your pity or your blessing. But I would definitely welcome your love and support. It's going to get real. It's going to be raw. I'm really going to put myself out there, and it's going to leave me extremely exposed and vulnerable. But it must be done. I'm recording and documenting and posting all of this because Debbie Mirza, Gary Vaynerchuk, Benjamin Hardy, Mel Robbins, and Mark Manson told me to, assisting me to gain the strength, the courage, and the tools to do so. Thank you. I'm documenting and revealing the process of how I went from being a director at a top 50 university in the world, married with 4 kids, to being coerced to move to a foreign country and having my children brainwashed and illegally abducted by the people I trusted. All of my money, belongings stolen by those same individuals. And living on the street in a remote country on the other side of the world, many days existing on a $5 Domino's pizza or less. All in less than a month. I was too ashamed to talk to my family and friends about it. I was feeling like a failure. And in disbelief and denial. And also I didn't want people to realize my ex and her parents are actually as bad as they are, just in case we work things out again. We will go through their attempts to silence me, first by extreme aggression, threats, and bullying. Then, when that failed, the death threats began, which they obviously thought would be really effective since there had already been multiple attempts. When these proved less effective, they started threatening my children's lives as well. How despicably low can you get? It's because they knew that I wouldn't risk that. We all know there are crazy and delusional people that have actually killed their kids just so the other person couldn't have them. But unlike them, I actually love my children. I would never use them as pawns or leverage or threaten in any way to harm them. Most of us have an inherent need to protect our children. It's transcending about anything else. She knows I'm a protector. I've put my life on the line for people I love and for people I don't even know. That's just the way I am. She took advantage of this characteristic and took them away, hoping and knowing it would destroy me, not being able to do anything, paralyzed by the fear of what she would do to them. And to my knowledge, there have been 4 close attempts on my life. Although it is peculiar that the same tactic was utilized each time in 2 different countries. Seriously? They also hijacked my original Facebook and email accounts when I was using them to reach out to my children the only way that I could, trying to let my kids know that none of this is their fault, no matter what she's told them, and that they are unconditionally wanted and loved. A major problem that we face is my ex has extremely limited and cut off my children's, her family's, and extended family's social media. Tough feat these days. Even though I know she and her parents check my accounts regularly, she has to know if something like this is happening to keep my kids from seeing it. But no matter how many restrictions and how much she tries to control them, they're smart kids. They're going to find out. And we are going to make sure that they do. Because at some point, they are going to rebel against her stifling manipulation and control. And I hope and pray that these messages have gone far enough to reach them when they do. One of my problems was I wasn't sure how to get these messages out to my children and to the millions of others that have gone through and are going through and will likely go through similar circumstances. I wasn't sure what to do. I'm still not exactly sure what to do, but this is my start. Because I've always felt like I need all the answers first before taking action. Now I realize that I don't have to have all the answers. I don't need to know all the hows. I just need to stop being afraid and stop putting it off and start doing something. And I believe the knowledge and help will follow. And I do need help. I never ask for help with virtually anything. I always do everything on my own. I'm just a stubborn old man. But I know I can't do this on my own. And I need help. I need your help. I will do my best to get this information out to those that need it, in hopes that it will help them avoid a similar fate, and hope that it will spread far enough to eventually somehow reach my children. They have the right to know what actually happened. You never imagined anything like this would happen to you. Could this happen to you? Yeah, unfortunately. If you end up with the wrong person. If you let the wrong person choose you. I say they choose you because they do. These types of people have a very specific criteria for whom they choose as their victims. I'm not the only one that this has happened to. This happens to people every day, all over the world, to a lesser or even greater extent. Wow, you should have seen this coming, like there would have been signs. You're right, there were signs, and it's my fault that I chose not to act appropriately, because I always try to see the good in people and give them the benefit of the doubt over and over. That's why people like her choose people like me as their targets. Additionally, I didn't think that there was anyone I knew that could be capable of such heartless and despicable and deplorable acts. So I'm going to start detailing what happened. There will be lots of stories and scenarios. Also, I'll be answering a lot of questions that many of you have asked, and many more didn't know why I had raised questions. Like how the New South Wales police, both Randwick and Rockdale precincts, did nothing to help me find my abducted children, even though multiple illegal criminal acts were committed. How the Australian Child Support Agency did nothing to help me find my children, even though I was doing the right things. I set up, support payments, and not only have I never missed a payment or even had a late payment in 10 years, it has been paid months in advance. There's always hundreds and usually thousands more in that child support account than what was required, which is the opposite of what she's been telling everyone. And why you need help, and you shouldn't stop searching for help. Like letting depression take over and convincing you there is no way, especially when all the lawyers you contact require an $85,000 to $160,000 retainers. That means all paid in advance before they'll even start to help you. Why the majority of people in the Northern Hemisphere know me as Blaine, but the majority in the Southern Hemisphere know me as Blade. Interesting story, and actually a logical reason. Now, having decades of experience with overt and covert narcissists, I plan to lay out in detail how you can recognize them and hopefully help others not make the same mistakes that I did, that lead to the most miserable of outcomes. How being a people pleaser, being too nice and not being able to say no, not wanting to hurt others' feelings at the expense of your own feelings, will send you down a path of personal frustration, disappointment, and misery. How caring too much about what others think will lead to your unhappiness. And most of those people you're trying so hard to please, they don't even care. My battles with PTSD, deep depression, and suicidal aspirations, primarily because of the many years of mental and emotional and psychological abuse and conditioning that I received from my ex. She tried hard, best of efforts, bravo! However, she has been greatly disappointed that I didn't follow through on what she was trying to get me to do. Now don't be fooled, they are masters of manipulation and these types of abuse. Also, how they triangulate. Oh, this is the big one. This is their favorite. They love this. It's a method employed to feed people false information for the sole purpose of turning them against each other whilst trying to get that person on side. They will say to them, I said something bad about that person. Then they will tell me that that person said something bad about me. And they will sit back and watch the animosity grow out of control, which is what she has done for years to pit my kids against me, as well as many family members and neighbors and friends and church leaders. How they will pretend to be the victim, how they will gaslight you and make you think you're losing your mind, and other ways that narcissists will try to condition and control you. What happens when you stand your ground? Better sooner than later. They may let you get away with a little in the beginning, as they are testing the waters. They're seeing how difficult it's going to be to control you before they invest in a relationship. Like I said, don't be fooled. They are master manipulators. And I will strive to unveil all their telltale signs and tactics that I'm aware of, and try to help you avoid falling into the same traps. Welcome to my life.